Hi, friends. Hi, everyone. I'm Marianne Goldweber, the owner of a Village Personal and Spiritual Development Center, and I am a spiritual teacher, medium clairvoyant, and coming to you live from Marianne's house, which is my spiritual podcast that I do every Wednesday night at 8. So, welcome, welcome, and welcome, welcome. And this is where we have inspirational dialogues and get you guys excited and keep you engaged in life and what's going on in the world and, trying to help you stay in a spiritual perspective. So, thanks for joining me. And I'm going to hang on here for a minute and let everybody get on. Well, hi, Mary. Yeah, what a crazy week it's been. I think I say that every week. So, we're going to talk a little bit about astrological goings on. We're going to talk about our topic tonight, which is fear and risk and how to get in alignment with the divine, how to learn to trust that divine source. So I'm looking forward to a lively dialogue. And I'm going to put my phone number in here so you guys can text me if you have any questions. You can. I might go live tonight. I mean, like I might take it call-ins. I might call you. So just write your questions down and take some notes. But that's going to be our topic for tonight. So thanks for joining me. I know, right? Truly, Pat. It's yeah. We have a different variety of crazy every week. I was windblown. I've been in the car, so my hair's a little messy today, but that's okay. I like that windblown look. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I say that every week too, because there is. There's just so much going on. Hi, Lori. Yeah, there's always something going on in the world right now. Constantly evolving. It's good stuff, though. Looking forward to it. So yeah. So our topic tonight is risk, taking risk, fear, and how to align with that divinity and supporting us. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of those topics. So because right now everything's in a place where we can pretty much manifest whatever we want, and now that we've had some of the things that we're always manifesting, however, now that we've untangled and unwound some of the things that we've already created in our life, and we're coming into this place of really being more at peace, I think, with stillness and with a lot of the upheavals that we've had. Now it's time to start getting kind of excited about, moving forward into the world and creating new things. So that's what I want to talk about tonight. Is that's going to take an element of risk, and frankly, everybody's still a little gun shy of a lot of things. So we're going to talk about how to clear the road a bit, how to prepare yourself for taking risks, and the beauty of the discernment that comes with knowing when it's time and making sure that you're owning your own side of the road. So that's you might want to get a pen and paper so that you can take some notes about that. Yeah, I'm not sure what the dialogue's going to look like, guys. I never do. I'm always winging it in here. I just trust what pops in my head. So technically, I'm channeling a lot of this information for you. And if there's time tonight, I will channel for some of you guys individually if you're open to that. But like I said, if you guys are in the middle of trying to get a new game plan for yourself, or you kind of want to be finished with some of the things that you've already created, that you're kind of putting the kibosh on. So If you need a game plan, I have one-on-one sessions still $60 for an hour, and that's not going to stay that price forever, but it's really a wonderful opportunity to get some one-on-one spiritual insight from your stage crew, and then use your spiritual tools to implement that in your life, so we can create some really good things and change. And I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about it all. So how you guys doing? So last week, well, a lot of things happened last week. We've got some interesting astrology going on. I talked about this last week in my podcast, but Pluto went retrograde. For those of you that might follow astrology, I also have a beginning astrology class coming up on the books. I think I'm going to be putting that out there. But I've got some changes going on personally as well. So yeah, the classes are out there. If you go to my website, which is mariannegoldweber.com, you can take an opportunity to look at those and see if there's anything that interests you, and sign up for those. So we haven't really had a full class because everybody's been busy, and it's hard to get focus right now. And that's really what I'm helping you guys do, is get some focus so that we don't oh, hey, Dennis. It's okay. I just got on too. Facebook, everything changed, and so it's weird getting on here now. So anyway, so over the last week, we've had a couple of astrological events happen that kind of made everything feel topsy-turvy. And I was funny because I was talking to Becca the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, I just do not have a handle on time. All right, time for me, because I'm a Pisces, time is always fluid. I operate on a whole nother timeline sometimes, but at least I could count on human time. Well, right now, human time is so squirrely that I don't have an anchor to anchor me to the human world that way. So I have been super squirrely, more than usual. So yeah, if you guys feel like time is weird and you can't get a handle on time or schedules, or that's kind of because some of the astrology that we're up against right now. So if you guys ever just wonder where we're at astrologically, you can always go to astrologyking.com. So this is what happened last week was I felt, actually on the 28th of the month of April, I felt that Monday this kind of weird shift. And I thought, oh my God, what's that? And it just felt very like somebody pulled my plug. So, somebody pulled the plug, and I got a little funky, and kind of in a sad way. And so I thought, okay, I was fine a minute ago. Okay, I was fine yesterday and all, and so something changed. And that's what you do, guys. When you stop and you know that you're on your own road and you know you're working your path, when you all of a sudden out of nowhere feel weird, okay, or just some different way than good, I instantly know it is not mine, and it's coming from some direction. So whether it's, people in my life, or whether it's astrological stuff, I make that list, and you just work through those. So the first thing I did was I got online and I looked at what's going on astrologically. Well, come to find out, Pluto went retrograde. So I talked about this in the last video. So every planet governs something different. So Pluto is the taskmaster. It's the one that holds our feet to the fire. So if you take a look at the dynamics that are going on in our world, a lot of people who were running under the radar or, lacked integrity are all getting kind of busted right now. And so, and look in your own life. I mean, really, nothing can really stay hidden. And I have been saying this for a year, okay, is the whole purpose of this shift is to wake people out of complacency, to get their attention so that they can look around and go, wow, this is really screwed up. How long has it been? The whole time it's been screwed up. So now that we're awakening and we're starting to clear our road, now we're all getting involved. We're now all getting invested, hopefully, not only in our own life, but what's going on in our world. And so nothing can stay hidden right now. I told you, if anybody's got secrets, they're going to get outed. So it's just so much easier, guys, to go into your emotional closet and your past and to really take ownership for what you can. And this is why we're clearing the road by processing our emotion, taking the lessons, and all of that. Which brings me to, and then we had, I think it was Wednesday. What is today? Wednesday? No, Tuesday. Monday or Tuesday, we had the new moon. Well, the new moon is the dark moon. It's the time of nothing. It's a void. It allows us to go into those dark places and to reflect. So we had Pluto retrograde, then we had the new moon, okay, which forces people into introspection, and it brings up our emotions, and it allows us to address emotionally the things in this human life that we normally can't see during the rest of the month. And then there's that, okay, and then Mercury's going retrograde again. And then by the end of the month on the 23rd, I believe Saturn is going to go retrograde. So this is why we can actually prepare for those things and know they're coming. And that way you feel more empowered, okay? Rather than feeling like a victim to this stuff, when you clean your road off, you realize that half the stuff that you're feeling and half the stuff that the world is experiencing really has nothing to do with you. You know, and when your road is clear, you've got nothing to hide. You know, that's the best part about it, is that when you clean off your road and you know who you are and you take ownership for the things you've done and the, you know, situations that you created, there's, you know, you don't have to worry about being exposed because there's nothing to expose, right? So the clearer your road, the clearer your road. So, which brings me to, you know, and another good thing that's going on is everybody's getting vaccinated. Now, I have to tell you guys, I don't give a shit whether you're on board with this or not, but I'm just going to tell you that having that vaccine lifted such a measurable amount of fear, or not only fear for my own health, but fear of getting my people sick, you know, because I have to tell you guys, I see death every day, all day long. And I cannot tell you how many people I know that have died from COVID, okay, that I know, or they were clients' family, I mean, or they've got these huge ongoing health issues. So I don't care what you believe, or if you feel like this is infringing on some rights. Well, where do we get to a point where we stop worrying about our rights and we start reflecting on our responsibilities, not only to ourselves, but to each other, okay? And I'm telling you, having that vaccine has lifted this huge burden of concern about, you know, first of all, dying, and secondly, getting other people sick and having them die because of me. So I think it's just a level of ownership and accountability, and it's brought such a sense of peace. And I have to tell you, now that I have just so you guys know, the majority of the people I know have all been vaccinated. We all work in mental health or public health, or we work in some field where you know, we're in contact with people, and, you know, this has brought a level of peace that I can't even explain to you, which has opened not only the door to possibilities, because, you know, not being vaccinated made me have to quarantine because of my health issues and because of, you know, those things. It limited me. And so the point I'm trying to make, I think, is, well, what the universe is trying to say is that our responsibility is to remove the blocks from the road that are going to stop or impede progress, whether it's your own progress or progress out in the world. So I would much rather, at this point in the game, be part of the solution than part of the problem, okay? And you want to be willful and stubborn, great, okay? But it's going to limit you, and it's going to limit those around you from being able to really fully explore some new and wonderful things. Because I have to tell you guys, I'm tired of being quarantined, and I have a lot of work to do out in this world, and I can't do it from my, you know, I can only do so much from here. The rest of this requires for me to be out in the world. So taking risk, is something that there's calculated risks, there's educated risk. I don't just take risk for the sake of just fear and leaping and running. The risks I take are pretty calculated. And because I'm not afraid of being out of the norm. Okay. Well, frankly, there is no norm right now. The people and situations that have felt empowered or powerful are finding that they're not, and people are waking up and they don't want to be oppressed or bullied anymore. And so people are really starting to come together in solidarity and to really start working for positive change in this world. I cannot tell you how refreshing this is. And again, there's always going to be critics and there's always going to be poo-pooers, and I just don't have time for folks like that. So in my own life, I have had to take a multitude of risks through things that were really, really painful or difficult in order to get to the next good thing, okay? And I've had to risk it all sometimes. It's almost like playing poker, and I would have to put all Annie in. I would put the whole kitty in and pray to God that it would work out, okay? Well, now that I'm, older and I've had a multitude of experiences, risk always has an element of failure. And the challenge is that when you remove things off your road and you start looking at what I can do versus what I can't do, and knowing that if I'm doing the next right thing, the universe is, and I'm aligning with that positive energy. So I don't take risk out of fear. And if you guys take a look at that, have you ever saw yourself where you've taken a risk only because you're forced into it because it was, the frying pan or the fire? I mean, it was less of two evils. And so sometimes we leapt or took a risk and it epically failed because it wasn't done with the proper intention. So risk doesn't always work out when we do it from a place of fear. And so again, when we talk about fear, fear is technically the absence of faith. And so when we have faith and we know and understand that universal flow is under this life, it's a river, that when you get on that little boat of yours on that river, you can navigate it in ways that will create a new way, but you got to kind of look for those ebbs and flows to do it. Well, the risk I'm talking about is more of a calculated risk and looking at risking in a way that is not coming from a place of fear, but because it feels like and is the right thing to do. So we have to step through our comfort zones on some level in order to create something new. So it's kind of like when you first start dating somebody, okay? That's a risk to go on a date. And it's a risk because, you don't know what to expect. Well, if you've had other experiences, it's not that big a deal. So the people that have the harder time with risk are people that have never taken it, or they've been forced into taking a risk or leaping because where they're at is so bad and they leap out of fear. And so they're not necessarily looking at where they're leaping to. So I've done all these kinds of risk. I've taken all kinds of risks, whether they're calculated or based in fear. And right now there's so little in the tangible world that's actually organized that you can do a lot of creative leaping right now. And we've got this kind of buffer that nothing is normal and everything's kind of, loosey-goosey right now. So this is a wonderful time to try out taking some small risks, planting those seeds out there and seeing, what your options are. Because we have more options available to us now because everything's loosey-goosey because of COVID. And a lot of the rules that used to apply don't apply right now. So we have a much bigger field of wiggle room to work within because everybody's having to make decisions or do things in a new way, not according to the old paradigms or the old rules. So it's actually really exciting. This is a wonderfully exciting time because now that all these oppressive rule makers and all these oppressive rules are no longer in play, and greed isn't necessarily the people who are holding control of this stuff anymore. There's a lot more opportunities. Okay, so planting those seeds and taking risk, the chances of it taking root and germinating are way better than ever. So yeah, everything's a little more. It's not everything is set in stone. There's a lot of opportunities now where the rules just aren't in. The same rules aren't being applied, which is great. one thing I learned early on in my life is when I looked at rules, and I had a huge issue with oppressive rules. So a lot of rules are meant to control people. But then there's rules that keep people safe. Okay. And then there's rules that keep things fair. Okay. So we have to really discern the difference between the rules that we follow and those in which we need to reevaluate and change or break. And so that's what we're up against right now is a lot of the rules that we used to operate under were oppressive, and they weren't for the higher good of everyone, only for a select few. And those are the rules I have the hardest time with as a person who had lived under oppressive paradigms. And so I have a very hard time with those kinds of rules that are abusive or keep people separate from good stuff. And so now a lot of the rules are being questioned, which is wonderful. And that's the whole point of this upheaval in our world at this time, is to shake it awake, look at what's working, what's not working, and how do we create inclusive systems that behoove and benefit everyone. That's where we're headed, okay? So again, things are coming down. They're, it's kind of like everything's deconstructing because these weren't real and they were based in fear. And now people just really aren't afraid anymore. And they're really more empowered to stand up and defend each other and what's right in the world. And I'm thinking it's such a wonderful thing. So anyway, so when I look at risk, I ask myself, well, what am I really risking? What's the fear that stops me from taking whatever risk I want to take? So, for instance, I am in the middle of looking for a new space. And there is conventionally, okay, we'll look up the word conventionally. Conventionally, the way to go about doing that is not working right now. And so it's going to have to be an unconventional way that I secure a place to be. It doesn't mean that it lacks integrity. It just means that it's not going to be through the normal route in order for me to do that. So being somebody who's been self-employed for so long, most people don't want to look at you as a lender, especially over this last year because we don't look good on paper. Okay. And so again, there's a lot of the rules are having to be reevaluated and bent to include people who've really taken a hit during this whole last year, especially self-employed people or, people in certain industries. So, financing and getting stuff is way more challenging. And there's a lot of other options available that were not available before. A lot of conventional places have even loosened the reins on the way they do business because most people can't qualify in the old way that it used to happen. So the risk is, even though historically I know what I need to do as a self-employed person to generate revenue or to whatever, there's going to be an element of risk because I can't back it up because the last year's been so wonky and business, the way I do business is not the same as it used to be. And so the element of risk is saying, I'm going to make a commitment to something. And I know historically that I can make this happen. Okay. But the evidence that's out here now looks like there ain't no way in hell I'm going to be able to do this. Okay. Now I know me and I know how this whole thing works and I've got a plethora of experiences under my belt. So the risk that I would take to secure something like that is far less risky than somebody who's never ever done that before. Okay. Because I know how it works. And so I know the ebbs and flows and I know how far you can go. And, so that experience has brought me to a level of being able to take bigger risks because I know that, when I align with that divine knowing that, I'm not doing it out of a place of fear. I'm doing it because it feels what is the next right thing to do. And then I'm partnering with that divinity to support me when I take that step into that unknown. And they always come through. I trust that. Okay. And I know that happens. Now, again, these risks are much more calculated And so I don't just do it willy-nilly going, the universe is going to catch me, I do it knowing that if I'm going the right way, it's going to be relatively easy for it to manifest. Okay, so there's ways to discern how you do that. But when you're in a place of fear, fear is panic, fear is anxiety. And when you make a choice based in fear, it is not a responsive act, it is a reactive act. And fear reacts. Okay, and so we don't really assess what we're leaping into because we don't give a shit because it's scary. It's not nowhere near as scary as where we're at. And so when we take that leap, the universe can't support you in that. Okay. Because, well, not normally or all the way, because there's no ownership there in that, we didn't leap with the right intention. We did it out of fear. And so that might not necessarily be where we need to be. So again, this is the kind of stuff that we work through one-on-one and that's why I want to help you guys have your toolbox, and creating that toolbox of truly knowing yourself, clearing your road and trusting and building confidence in your knowing. And again, the less you have, the less you need. And we don't then make decisions based in fear because we're not coming from that place anymore. We're coming from a place in I'm good. I own what I've got. I've worked through the things that I, haven't done so well. And so when we go to manifest, we're not doing it from a place of like gluttony or greed or necessarily material things. We're doing it from a place of more about what is best for me versus what I actually want. Okay. So we have to really discern what it is we're asking for, and what intention and what energy are we putting on that thing to survive or support or whatever. So we have to look at our intentions and all those things when we look at risk. So again, calculated risk doesn't mean that we don't risk, or that we're just risking willy-nilly. That we are assessing the pros, the cons, and getting in alignment with that divinity, and then inner knowing it just feels right. Or when the opportunities present themselves, that you're not too afraid to say yes to them. So again, the first thing I do is I say, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? So what could possibly be the worst case scenario here? And how can I plan so that that we eliminate or make that less of a chance? Okay, so I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? Well, that I take this risk and then it doesn't work out, or this isn't people don't respond, or so I don't take a lot of people into consideration when I make those decisions to take risk. I do it for myself. What do I need? What is it that will bring me peace and comfort so that I can be free to do the things that I need to do? And again, I do want to create a space for everybody to be, or a place to go, where I can do these things. And so, yeah, there is an element of risk in it, but not in the scary way that a lot of people use the word risk. So this isn't like hang gliding or jumping out of an airplane. This is based on our prior experiences. So we've even had prior experiences where things didn't work out, or we took a chance on someone or something and it let us down. A lot of the times our expectation was the thing that disappointed us, or we didn't really look at all the windows before we made that decision. And so, when we learn from that, we're going to make better choices in what and in the way that we take risk. So risk is a wonderful thing. You have to take risk. Every day is a risk. So anyway, let's see who's on here with us tonight. And I can't wait to say hello to everyone. And I also want to say that, to all our friends celebrating Ramadan, those are coming to a close soon. And I'm looking forward to, them getting back in the world through their sabbatical they were on. So Mary, hello Mary, Pat, Lori, Dennis, glad you made it, Claire, Lauren. Hey, Lauren. Hi again. I saw Lauren today. That was funny. I did a smudging today. It felt so good, guys. This is a wonderful time to clear the energy out of your house, especially at the new moon. Monica. Hi, Monica. Dee Dee. Becky. Crystal. Hey, Crystal. Kayla. My little Kayla. Allison. Denise. Christy. So welcome, gang. It's nice to see everybody. Where's Ralph? I'm not used to being on here without Ralph joining us. I wonder what he's up to. So anyway, so that's what we're talking about tonight is faith and risk and how to trust that divinity. You know, they never let us down. But we have to learn how to listen and watch for the signs and make sure that we're accountable to, where we've been and what we have. And then risk really isn't that big a deal. So, and even the worst risks that I've taken, and it was funny because Becca and I had talked about that today. Even in the risks that I took that appeared to be epic fails for a lot of people who watched me do it or were in my world at the time, so many amazing things came out of those risks that it was never a failure. It was, even if it didn't sustain, it was where I needed to be at the time, and everything happened exactly the way it needed to. And the education and the outreach to people would never have happened had I not taken those risks. So honestly, guys, no risk is an epic failure if you learn something from it, okay? And we've all taken risks on people. I mean, for those of us that are divorced, we all took risks on people, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And when you look back at why I made that choice and what did I learn from it, that makes the next time you step out into that, out of your comfort zone to try something new again, that you do it from a much more discerning way. But we don't become afraid of experiences. The only time we become afraid of taking risk is when we haven't healed the last situation that we had when we took a chance or took a risk, and it didn't always work out right. So there's a grief with that. So that's what I help people do. If we make peace with the experiences in our life, guys, then we have a much bigger understanding of how people in the world works, so that the next time you step out of your comfort zone, take a risk, it's not that big a deal because you've already had one of the worst things happen. So, when you're making a calculated risk, it's not as risky as it appears. So anyway, and so again, guys, we come here as souls to create experiences in this life. The problem is, the challenge that we face is that we started this whole journey with very few tools. And we worked the hell out of those couple of tools. And, and frankly, some people were never taught how to take risk. I have seen parents purposely limit their children from taking risks because of their fears. Or, and so our job is to give them the tools to survive without us. So we have to help them take risks by going with them. And the challenge for most parents is that they're not good at it. And so they don't know, they don't want to step through their own comfort zone. But we have to educate our children. And this is why it takes a village. So if you got something that scares the crap out of you, and there's always that fun aunt, the one that does the things you wouldn't do. Well, even in the village, there's those elders in our village that parent us because our own parents couldn't, and that's why it takes a village, because then you have more people to draw experiences from, draw wisdom from, so that you don't feel like you're out there winging it. So frankly, when we've been taught suffering, and we get taught suffering, okay, we don't come here knowing what suffering is. We're taught that early on in life. But this life is not about suffering. This life as a soul is to come here and learn and teach and experience all there is to offer this life. But we start out with such limiting thinking and rules and, broken systems and people that we never fully embrace the freedom that we have as a soul in this life, because we're so limited by fear and other people's projected fear on us. Yeah, right? So if you guys think back about that in your own life, who taught you that? I I am a joyful bright light. I am risky and irreverent. That's a good thing. That can be a good thing. It's just how you use it. And my people were not that. So I got criticized for that a lot. And so what I've come to find out is when you really truly discover your authenticity, that it's it's a beacon for other people to follow. You inspire them. So when you take those chances and you take those risks and you step out of your comfort zone and you get confident, your kids are watching you, your friends are watching you, other people are being inspired by you, people you may not even know. So yeah, finding our authenticity, uh, learning to trust that divine source, and getting accountable to our lives and not being afraid to take some risks is probably one of the most powerful things you could ever learn how to do. So I'm all for it. So do you guys have any things you want to talk about limiting fears that keep you from trying new things? Because guys, change is going to happen whether you like it or not. Okay, things will change. Nothing stays the same. And so, people are going to die. Employment gigs are going to end. Things, you can only prepare for so much. But like I said, the more we depend on those things, the more we need. And so when we clear the road and simplify our life, it opens the energy to be more selective about what we can, it opens the opportunity bucket, for way more things when we aren't committed to, we're not committed to these senseless things that we've been taught we have to have, like how big does your house have to be? What kind of car you drive? As long as it runs and gets you from A to B, I mean, you can decide that. But I think we've learned nothing during this COVID situation is what's important and what's really a value and prioritizing that. And so once you live simpler, it opens the doors to opportunities and it offers us more things to take a chance on that we normally would not have done otherwise. So that's what we're doing. So let's take a look at what you guys, how have you been feeling this week? What did you guys think about some of this stuff? Did anybody look it up, or did you have any awarenesses in your meditations and things? So let's see. Yeah, I'm checking in on who's here. So it's funny, guys. There are certain astrological aspects that are better at risk and change than others. And it has a lot to do with being creative. So Monica was saying, in my experience, it seems the initial steps are the hardest. So sitting with that, Monica, the first thing that came up when you said that was, well, her astrology is like that. So, so the most fluid signs of the zodiac are Pisces, Aquarius, who else? Well, the most fluid signs of the zodiac are Pisces, Scorpio, Virgo, Libra, Cancer, and Aquarius. So the water signs are the ones that are way more open to that kind of flow. They have a harder time with time, and they also have a harder time with the human rules and obligations here on this human planet. So they look unaccountable, but that's a double-edged sword right there. So when we look at the more rigid signs, okay, so the absolutely more rigid signs are like Scorpios, Capricorns, Sages are very fluid. Sages are very fluid. They don't mind taking risk as long as it's fun and works and is for them. But when we look at those more stoic, rigid signs of the zodiac like Gemini, uh, uh, Taurus, Capricorn, Scorpio, those are a little more rooted and grounded signs. They like things in that logical, logistic way. And again, being fluid and up here makes it more challenging for them to get up to this perspective because they're caught in the detail and the boxes and the, schematics of things. Well, the universe doesn't work in schematics. So if you're a Capricorn, 2 plus 2 is 4. Well, but in my world, 2 plus 2 is 6, because 2 plus 2 in the human world, then there's this erythral 4 out here that really that you have to take into the equation. And that's the problem, is when you look at things logically and rigidly, you're not taking that divinity into account and the magic that comes with that and the other sum that it comes to. So yeah, so when we look at the reasons to start, we get limited, especially if you're those more solid signs, rigid signs, because you can't trust what you can't see. Okay, guys, I'm a Pisces. I trust what I feel, but way before I trust what I see. Okay, and that's the difference. And so when we look at astrology, or we look at our numerology, or we look at our conditioning, human conditioning, are you male? Are you female? Are you still deciding? Okay, all of those things play a factor in how we locomote through this life. And then when you have limiting things like trauma or tragedies that you've not really released or overcome, it creates such a limiting situation when it comes to starting, because it's very scary to take that first step into the unknown. So yeah, I totally understand that. So yeah, so sometimes, those signs need to be pushed into change or pushed into risk, because fear got me a lot of places, guys. I can't lie. And so did anger. Oh my God. Anger can be such an amazing motivator, okay, but it's not necessarily the best way to make choices, but it certainly gets you moving. So where do you just get pissed off enough to decide you're going to do something about it? Well, for everybody that's different. So maybe you need to light that fire under your butt by we can't, if you're angry, it's really at ourselves. So yeah, so those rigid signs have a very hard time with change and risk. And again, I'm a Pisces. I'm like MacGyver. I I can make anything out of nothing. Okay. And so that's where my ability to be creative makes my riskiness look even more risky. Like I'm not even following rules at all, but I really am. But not in the same way you would. So I'm not limited by the rules. I find a million ways to get around them. So, see, I'm that creative, crafty. Maybe crafty is a better word for it, guys. Okay. So yeah, so all those things definitely tell us how you look at life, this human life. And again, when you have that other side, that spiritual understanding. So for me, I operate in the spiritual world way easier than I do in this human world. And so I see that higher perspective before I see the limitations. Okay. I don't even see the limitations. I mean, Becca and I could look at the same thing, and she sees one thing, and I see something totally different. She sees the what's not going to work, and I see the vision minus the pitfalls. Okay, and now I've learned to go to that perspective. I've learned to be more Gemini-esque or more rigid, because those things are the things that trip me up. So I've learned from those other signs how to look at this like a Capricorn. How do I look at this like a Gemini? That doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but I at least take that perspective into the equation now, which is why my risk is more calculated, okay? Because I've learned to go to other perspectives than just what I want or what I know, because I can get caught in the vision and avoid and not see any of the pitfalls. I don't do that anymore. So I've learned how to go to those other perspectives, to take it into the equation, so to see how it adds up. So yeah, that's another thing that we have to do. God, look at all these Capricorns and Tauruses. No wonder you guys follow me, because I'm like a little feather on the wind, and you guys are all stuck in the weeds. I'm just very entertaining. That's why everybody wants to be my friend, because I'm fun. I can't tell you how many non-fun friends I've had in my lifetime that just really are, I call them the sandbag on my balloon. So many boxes, right, Allison? Okay, well, again, first of all, throw half the boxes away. There's nothing in them. Or there's old other people's crap in them. So let's empty these boxes out and whittle them down. Becky says, I definitely noticed the new moon making a huge difference. I feel like a weight lifted. Right. So right before the new moon happens, it's kind of like PMS, guys. So for our girls out here, we know what this feels like. well, you could just rip off somebody's head and poop down their neck. I mean, you're just like, you know. And then when you get your period, on the day you get your period, you're like, and you just, it's like a release, having that physical purge of the menstrual cycle. Well, that's what's happening minus the period, okay? So the whole world is experiencing that on the day before the new moon. So when that new moon hits, it's like a release. And that's when everybody starts getting like, but you still feel a lot better. You're not as angry and all that anymore. So that's what, wasn't that was noticeable, Becky. I'm telling you. That new moon was palpable, more than usual. So everybody felt that. Not just the sensitive people. Yeah. Okay, Deb. So Sages, I love Sages. So Sages are salespeople. It's really funny. People love them, and and people trust them. And that's where it can be a double-edged sword, because people trust you, you have an obligation to make sure you're trustworthy, and that because you guys are the life of the party. Sages are another fun sign I love to hang out with. They're all about fun. But they also know that they can manipulate people to get to do things they don't necessarily. They can either manipulate or inspire. It's just how you use it. Same thing with me, being a Pisces. I'm charming as hell, so I can either take you down the briar patch or I can lead you to good things. It's just what's my intent and my motive. So that's the funny thing about Sages. Sages could sell anything. They're always selling people on something. So they are most of the time in sales or in occupations that are providing a product to someone or providing someone a service of some kind. So they're very good at sales. However, people are a mixed bag of nuts, and they're a lot of work. And so Sages are very solitary, actually, even though they're life of the party like Pisces. We're also, I'm speaking from Pisces because Sag and Pisces share this, is that when they're alone, they like their cave and they like their quirky space, because it takes a ton of energy to be with people and to be in their energy and to listen to their stories and to help navigate them to the right thing. That is exhausting, guys. And so Sages especially, and anybody who works with people, needs to learn how to fill their own cup. And again, we do have the ability to manipulate. Okay, so you want to be very careful of using our powers for good and not evil. Oh, Dee Libra. Libra is the peacekeeper. They have a very hard time with fairness. So when it comes to taking risk, Libras are not big risk takers. They really aren't, because they take forever to make a decision. Because they take a lot of people into account, or they want it to be fair for them or for other people. And so you can't ride that fence, and it's so hard for them to make a choice that risk is not easy for Libra. Mercedes, I know, right? I love her now. I've learned to appreciate her and discipline her. How funny. Leo, Virgo, Cusp. I mean, that is so funny. So I love when people are in a Leo, Virgo, Cusp, because those two signs could not be more different, okay? Leos are always in a hurry, and Virgos are caught in the detail. That is like a perfect oxymoron. So I would love to see the rest of your chart. So you got a Pisces rising. Okay, so that makes you more fluid. But Leos are so in a hurry to get there that they forget to look at the detail of things. They just want to get there. And so risk for them, usually it turns into an epic fail, or they get there prematurely, or they get there without half of the things they need. And so, yeah, risk is they're really good at risk, but they don't plan well. But being on the cusp of Virgo, that makes you better at that, Pat, than most Leos, okay? So the Virgo thing has you looking at the detail. Although Virgos usually commit themselves to other people's journeys or other people's risks, they don't necessarily do it for themselves. Yeah, that's a very interesting one. And again, we keep dragging these broken ass people with us, Pat. Okay, stop convincing broken people to risk and go with you. You need to just go on your own. So, Chrissy, well, just order it on my website, Christy. you can order your natal chart. And then not only does it give you the report of the whole natal chart, then if you want to schedule a session for like, half an hour, then we can go over your chart and I'll tell you what it means. I also do a class on that. I am fun. I have to tell you, though, I haven't had a lot of fun in the last year. I'm looking forward to more of that. The reason I'm fun is because I don't give a shit. Okay? How people see me, I don't care what they think. I really don't. And I'm all about the party, guys. Okay? Although I'm way better than I was. I used to not really care at all. Yeah, no moldy old boxes. Right, Christy? Aries. Oh my God, Aries. So again, Aries only, Aries don't, so let's wait. When we're talking about risk, Aries only take risk if enough people are following or going with them. They don't like doing anything alone because they want to be the leader, and they want a ton of people to come with them. Okay, so yeah, why don't you go show us how that risk looks and then come back and tell us about it, and then we'll see if we want to follow you the next time. That's so funny. Aries. Oh my God, Aries. Yeah, they think they know what they're doing. They're like, come on, people. They always lead the charge. But God, they're running off a cliff. Yeah, they don't take risks. They just want to lead. I don't think risk is really in. A lot of Aries aren't necessarily good at risk. They're good at, like conflict and leadership, but no, not necessarily risk. They like telling other people what to do. Oh my God, that's so funny. Well, in Libras, Dee Dee, I love Libras because they're so caught in fairness that they're never happy. They're so busy trying to make it fair for other people, they never always get what they want. Libras also have wine taste on a beer salary too. They like nice things. Yeah, but when we're looking at right, so that attention to detail makes it difficult to take risks because you have to overlook some of those limitations in order to get what you want. So it's very difficult. What sign are you, Jason? Oh my God, that's funny. That sounds like a Leo thing. Well, right, but the problem is that you can't just wiggle your nose and get there. Risk requires effort. Okay, you're going to have to make some effort to step out into the direction you want in order for the universe to think you're serious, So that's the funny part about it. Oh my God. Yeah, so risk. Some signs are better at it than others. And yeah, and motive and intent has a lot to do with the quality of the risks that we take, and trusting that divinity I don't just take crazy risks and say God's going to catch me. It's not like that. But based on the experiences I've had before, and knowing how magical the universe is, that I trust that if I'm doing the next right thing and I'm going the right way, the universe will show it to me as I go. So I don't just run out there leaping. I observe how it's starting to manifest, how it comes in. So taking those risks has a lot to do with cleaning off your road. So our past is the roadmap for the future. The trick is we don't want to get down into the painful places and work through it in order to really come out empowered and confident and, trusting not only ourselves, but the bigger thing than us that is always guiding and always helping. So, like I said, if you guys want to go ahead and schedule some kind of a session for yourself, give me a call. You have to call me on the phone to do that. Right now it's only $60 a person because now is the perfect time, guys, to really start putting some seeds out in the world. Like I said, what's limiting you from really stepping out into this world and creating something new? Whatever the limiting thing is, it might sound stupid, like, paying off a bill or getting your vaccine or we want to remove as many blocks from the road so the universe can work the magic. And the more complicated your crap is, you can't run away from it, guys. Anything limiting is going to be limiting. Okay, so we've got to clear the road and get accountable because it's just going to free you and help other people to be back out here doing what we have to do. I'm looking at taking some very large risks myself in order to secure a space so that I have, one, a place to live, and secondly, that I have a place where we can all come together and recharge so that we can go back out in that world and do what we got to do. And so, yeah, I miss that. I need that. And I'm looking for that currently. So I'm going on an appointment on Thursday to see a potential place. And so, wish me luck. Yeah, I'm just open to whatever at this point, but and I've made it clear to the universe, and they know my situation. So it's going to have to be it's going to have to require some magic behind the scenes to make this happen, people. So let's give it good energy that the right thing will appear, and we're going to do it together, right? If I build it, they will come. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun to be a village and to show up and do things together. Let's make this old world a new world, people. Okay? So let's see. Has anybody texted me for anything they want to know? If you guys have already talked to me recently, or I've addressed you in a previous podcast, sometimes you just got to get a whole message, people. I can't answer really big questions on here. So if you guys want to just mark on there me, if you want a little something. But if I've already talked to you about something on here, you might just want to call me and just book a session. These little bitty things don't work as often as we'd like. So Jason says, Oi, I've had it with finding out I have more unhealed crap I didn't even know about. Well, that's the thing, Jason, is once we acknowledge it, and the more we talk about it, the more it just becomes a part of our story. And so it just becomes a story after a while. But those secrets that we keep, whether they're things we've done or things that have been done to us, but when we start talking about it, it loses its power. And then you can just see the why behind it now. God, I had to have that experience in order to be who I am. So why am I kind and compassionate? Because I've had situations where people were unkind to me. And then I learned that I never want to do that to another person. So, all of these things are just, opportunities to learn and evolve. And I'm sorry that we've had these, but carrying around unhealed crap, half of that crap in that bag, Jason, doesn't even belong to you. It belongs to other people. I mean, we're carrying around this shitty bag that doesn't even belong to us. It belongs to somebody else who gave it to you and said, here, hold this for a minute. Here, hold this. And it's not even ours. So just set the fucking bag down and walk away. And that's what I help people do, is we step away from it and we say, where did we get that? How do we work through that? And that should be empowering because that makes you a warrior, Jason. That makes you a warrior. Most people don't survive those things, my friend. But we need support and we need people who are encouraging us and loving us. So, if you took a poll of all the people on this list, I personally can tell you that all of them have had some kind of an awful trauma that could have probably taken them out, but it didn't. And again, that's why we all have each other, to remember who we were, encourage who we're becoming, and support us as we take these risks and become living authentic lives. It's so exciting. Really. Really. Oh, Becky, you're the crazy aunt? So am I. Wonder if my niece Jennifer's on here. No, I am. I'm that aunt. The one that teaches you the dirty joke and, all those things. Anyway. Yeah, there's so many things going on right now. Anyway, I know, I can't wait. I actually have, I got a cool place I'm looking at Thursday. It's actually more in the city than I would like it to be, but I just want a place to get back together again, guys. And I just want to live peacefully. I'm not asking for a lot, you know? Well, I have to tell you, guys, the things that have been holding us back are logistics and the inability to actually be out there without dying or, getting sick. Okay, so we've honestly been forced into stillness, which is good because now we do have opportunities to get back out in this world. But we're all going to have to get accountable and we all just going to have to do your part. Do your part for Christ's sake, Um, like I said, people are making this stuff such a big deal, but it's limiting us. I mean, we've been limited. Haven't you guys been limited enough for the last year? Don't you kind of want to get back out in the world and hug some people and hang out and go do volunteerism and go show your kids some new things? I would love to do that. But if enough people shifted their rights to their responsibilities, this would have been over a long time ago. Okay, but I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about anything. Okay, but I'm more concerned with you know, getting us all back out here in a safe way. That's my goal. And we have been very limited, so I don't want to live limited anymore. I mean, haven't we been limited enough? I mean, it's ridiculous. Here, hold this, right, Jason? It does take a village. I rely on this village all the time. Yeah, I saw that, Deb. I can't live in a development. I cannot live in a development. I am not a team player, okay? If I lived in a development with an HOA and people were telling me when to mow my lawn and what color light bulb I have to have in my, somebody would die. I would never be able to do that. Yeah, I need something that's a little more out. Or in the city where people don't really give a shit what color your light bulbs are. I know I miss hugging too, Dee Dee. I hug everybody. Now that I'm vaccinated, if you're vaccinated and I'm vaccinated, we will be hugging. Okay? I got to hug Laurel today. It was wonderful. Wonderful. I miss human contact. Oh my God, that's it. And if we can all just get vaccinated, we can all start hugging each other again. Holy crap, wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Right now, riding that fence is ridiculous. I really don't want to see. I have so many people that are long haulers who've had some awful things happen to them because of this thing, or their people are dead. Oh my God, how many funerals couldn't happen during this thing? Anyway, yeah, it's just sad. People are so focused on their rights that they don't realize their rights are overrunning everybody else's rights. And this is about responsibilities. Grow up. People are so fucking immature. Yeah, we got to take care of each other. So just, suck it up, Nancy, and do your part. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thanks for listening. That was Mercedes speaking. That last message was delivered by Mercedes Goldweber. Anyway, okay, kids. All right, nobody has any questions? Don't make me do something just random here. Okay, hold on. Hey, Becky, just so you know, your grandma's helping you a lot. She's a badass. Becky, I just want you to know that. You're a lot like her. Okay, but you got to watch your tongue, she said. You got to be careful. You got a quick wit and a sharp tongue. So just because you're thinking it shouldn't be, that you shouldn't always say it. Anyway, so your grandma's schooling you on that. The thing you learn, so Dee Dee's asking, what can you learn from a natal chart? So the natal chart, Dee Dee, is like taking a photograph of the sky the minute you're born, and it tells us precisely where these planets lie in the grid, okay? So that's how we determine your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, what planets were governing all the different houses, if those planets were retrograde. All of that is like a blueprint for your strengths, weaknesses, and karma. Okay, so that's why your natal chart's important. It's like a get to know Marianne Goldweber from day one. I wish everybody had had their natal chart at the start. At least you'd know what your strengths and weaknesses were and what to look for. But that's why we don't have it always, because, we wouldn't have that stuff then. So yeah, having your natal chart is very important so that you understand how retrogrades affect you, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and how to circumvent how you react to certain things. So I love the natal chart. It's a wonderful tool for self-awareness. All right, kiddos. It looked like it was Deb. I really didn't look at it. I just looked at the front of it and I had a knee jerk on it. So I'll look at it again. Aw, how wonderful. Well, you're in a group with us, Jason. That's all that matters. We're getting out there. We're getting back to it. So I want you guys to do this. I want you to make a list. What is limiting me? If fear was not an option, if fear was not an option and you could make this anything you want it to be, what does that look like? The last place to have regret, people, is on the other side. Once you break your mood suit, it's over and you can't come back and change it. So, we live in, again, all these oppressive systems that we've been taught or that have been forced upon us. And frankly, some people have more oppressive systems than others. There's oppressive systems based on religion, culture, society, gender, race. All these things carry with them these oppressive systems, paradigms that really are not working right now. They're not applying anymore. And especially here in the United States, because we're all evolving into a melting pot of different cultures. And so how can we really hate they're all anyway. So we're looking at these old systems and what's not working for you, and the things that have limited you. And so when you make a list of those things, let's make a game plan to work through and step through and redefine your own rules for yourself and what you're willing and not willing to do. And it's so liberating, guys, to live freely and confidently and, not to have fear. I know people that are staying in awful jobs because they're so scared of, they're scared of losing their work. I'm tired of oppressive systems, whether it's an employer, whether it's a partner, whether it's a government official. I'm tired of people keeping people down because of greed and power. I mean, that's oppression. That's not okay. And some of us came from very oppressive people, and it's taken me a lifetime to heal some of that stuff, okay? But we can do it. And together with the right people, the right programs, the right stuff, we can heal this stuff because we're the leaders, guys. We're the leaders of tomorrow, because who better to know to make those changes than people who have been there, right? Yeah. I've had the worst thing happen to me. You couldn't do anything to me that hasn't already been done to me, so I have no fear of you or anybody, for that matter. What are you going to take? My life? I've lived a full life. Death doesn't even scare me at this point. Do I want to die? No. But, so since we're not going to die today, let's live it to the fullest. So let's remove the blocks from the road, people. Make a list. What's your blocks? Give that bag of shit back to the person it belongs to, figuratively. Write them a letter. Tell them to go take their bag and stuff it and burn it. Now's the great time for you guys to release the blocks of the things that are keeping you limited. And if I can help you guys with that, let me know. So tomorrow I am actually doing our Moon Lodge circle. It's going to be at Maple Grove picnic area down in the Metro Parks. If you want to come, we're going to be there at 6. And you know how it's like herding cats. So by the time everybody gets together, it'll probably be like 6:30 or so. You can bring a lawn chair, a pen and paper, a beverage, and if you want something to eat, bring it with you. We'll have social distancing, but again, I've been vaccinated. We're going to have all the protocols for everybody. And so we're going to burn stuff and let things go. So if you want to process those things tonight and join us tomorrow at the Moon Lodge, you get to hear the teachings and We get to spend some time together communally, and we support each other as we're letting go of those blocks that are limiting us to a life of purpose. So join us tomorrow if you get a chance. And if you're not, I'm going to try and go live. I don't always get a signal down there in the Metro Park, so we'll have to see how that goes. So hopefully you can join us, and if you can't, hopefully you'll catch us online. So yeah, exactly. Where do we just start thinking about each other? It's a wonderful thing. I'll send you a message. Weird you said that. It's okay. First of all, Becky, anything I say is not weird or random. That's how this job goes. So nothing's by accident. Everything that comes out of my mouth has a purpose, even if I don't know what it is. So anyway, yeah, text me when we're done. All right, kids. Well, thank you so much for tonight. I love hanging out with you. And again, we're going to get out here in person more. And, let's put all that good juju out in the universe for the right thing to manifest so that we can all have a space to come hang out at and burn shit at. And I'm looking forward to it. So keep me in the loop. If you guys need anything, just give me a call. My number's on my website, which is mariannegoldweber.com. And if you give me a call on the phone, schedule a session for yourself. And it's really wonderful. It's very comprehensive. And if you guys get a chance to, all my other videos are uploaded on YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel, and when we're done here, I upload those videos to YouTube so that you can go back and watch all the interviews I've done with everybody. You can also see all the archived ones. I have one about grief. I have one about a lot of different things. And I believe I'm going to be doing one on the spirituality of recovery next week. So I'm looking forward to that. So we got a lot of good things coming and going on. And so, yeah, remove those blocks off your road, because that's the limiting stuff that's going to keep you from taking risk and doing things new and beautiful and exciting things in the future. So, yeah, don't let those things limit you. And if I can help, keep the faith and call me. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks so much for tonight, guys. You guys are amazing. Take care.